That's James's food. He's going to be talking about this. I'm going to talk about Murdoch, and this is today's harvest. You can see it's pretty meager. This is James's first stupest tomato that's ripened, and the first of these wonky shaped ones that are ripened, and the first oh, what do you call it, yellow Roma that's ripened. And I'm going to show you a lot of different variety in tomatoes here. So I saved the seeds. Those are from orange lip-smackin grape tomatoes, and you can see here that there's the orange lip-smackin grape tomato. There's another one. This one's a lot bigger, you can see, than those orange lip-smackin grapes, but I have a lot of hybrids. So you can see that there's, this is the same kind, this is the same kind, this is the same kind, this is the same kind over here. So I have, what I'm saying is I have 4 different kinds of tomato here. Look, some of them are very small, some of them are bigger. There's a regular Roma. This is the same kind here, and you can only see because the line, they have this interesting line down the side. I don't know why. That's a crimson cushion beefsteak, but it's quite small. And there's lots of these guys. And there's these guys that are round. And then over here, this kind, same color, but it's not round. And what was I going to say? Oh, these here, this is the smallest one of these. These are really big this year for me. Usually they're smaller than this, but look what happened here. This one ended up with a point, like these guys. And so I'm guessing that one of his parents was right beside that, and he ended up that way. So you can see with these, it used to be that this one's kind of round, but they used to be more egg-shaped and smaller, like about like that kind of tomato, but not this color. They used to be red on the bottom and purpley black too, about there, and all solid. This is not solid on that side, and this one here is more of a pink color, like those. So something happened there. And this one has almost lost all of the black. You can see a little bit of the purpley black there. And there's quite a few that they've lost quite a bit of the color from the top, which is interesting. So I like these ones. These ones taste nice. And they have yellow on the top of it. So I just wanted to show you a whole bunch of variety in tomatoes, and the fact that they don't stay the same. I'll grow them, and then all of a sudden, then I have a hard time going, okay, well, where do I draw the line? Do I call this one whatever type, or do I? So a lot of the time I've been thinking, well, really I should just take a picture of this and go, Mama, look like this, right? And when I'm giving them away to people, because some people might say, okay, well, these all right now, they look like black cherry tomatoes, so that's good, but will their children? Yeah, I don't know, right? So maybe I should, rather than saying like I'm going to be giving these seeds away that are orange lip-smackin grape tomatoes, will their children, will these seeds that grow into plants produce tomatoes that are orange lip-smackin grape? Or will they be like kind of this, or whatever, right? Because I'm growing tomatoes beside each other, and they end up a lot different. These, I've been growing these for I don't know how many years, a lot of years. So maybe 15, 20 years, whatever. And after a while, this guy, he has almost no purple on the top. But they used to be very nice and dark, and this guy's round, shouldn't be round. But yeah, not any longer really. So interesting. And I have a lot, like These aren't all of the tomato types that I'm growing. I have a lot of different tomato types, but some of them, like I was saying, these ones weren't ripe yet, and I had to harvest these today. I didn't want to harvest this, but I picked this up off of the alley because somebody had come by and smashed my plants, and so there were tomatoes on that just laying on the alley, and then so I had to do a little bit of harvesting that I didn't want to, and then I picked this guy up off of the alley and put him in a glass of water, and he looks really pretty there now.
He will for a while. Yeah.
So
don't smash our flowers, folks.
I don't know why people do things like that. I don't know why people would want to beat up on plants.
The thing is, you might
do to you.
You don't have to worry about us, but you might do it to someone. Reminds me of the story of a small-time petty criminal who mugged a little old lady. She happened to be the mother of a mafia don. The mafia don didn't do it personally, but you can imagine what happened to that small-time mugger.
Oh, and
the last thing he ever did.
That was the first yellow Roma. Well, these were supposed to be yellow Romas or orange Romas, however you want to look at the color of these things. But you can see they're not Roma tomatoes. There's something happened there. So, yeah, and this guy almost Roma, but not quite. I think he was a next door neighbor to, his parents. An orange Roma was next door neighbor to the one of these guys, because these guys have pointy end. But anyway, a lot of fun, and they taste good. You know, there's very few of the tomato types that we grow. Like none of these ones here were Tiny Tim. Tiny Tims are in this container. They're these guys, which are some of them are a little bit bigger. Like that. And what else? So I have, this isn't all of my tomato types. I just brought this out because it's so pretty to show. And well, I really wanted to show these guys because they're not like their great grandmas were. No, they're different now. So anyway, how is your warm smoothie?
It's good. There's grapefruit in it again?
Yeah, it's the same smoothie as yesterday, but today I have put in lemon balm.
Oh, that's right.
Lemon balm. So that's it.
So it tastes sharp. So it might be the lemon balm on top of the grapefruit. So it's still pretty good.
Okay. Anyway. So, Murdoch Mysteries Season 18.
18, eh?
18 seasons. And I think there's probably a lot of, like, I'm a Canadian, so I'm a Murdoch fan. But I think that's the true test of whether you're a true Canadian, like Murdoch. But anyway, I have to say that I liked Murdoch a lot more at the beginning.
You too?
Yeah. And so basically, like, I've had people tell me that I'm loyal, and I don't actually like that compliment when people give that to me. I'm just like like a dog. I don't think of myself as that, but then I think about how I tend to, like, if I watched Murdoch at the beginning, I'm going to keep watching it. I guess I'm loyal that way, or whatever. So maybe people are right when they've told me that. But anyway. This season was a little bit different. There's the, what is he, the constable or something like that? Who's the Scotsman?
The Scottish fellow, yeah.
He kind of, well, he becomes a commissioner or something like that, so he's still overseeing things, but he's not involved very much, because now there's a guy from Hong Kong has replaced him, and Yeah. And so, I don't know. They're really making Toronto back then a lot more cosmopolitan than I think it was, than I think anyone would believe it was. But then, but I have a kind of different. Maybe I'm just wanting to keep liking the show or something like that, and so I think, well, they introduced Crabtree as being a writer, and he writes stories, and in this one he's writing a story about Station 4, and he's written himself as this big stud and whatever who solves crimes, and really he's
Crabtree's a guy who barely looks as though he's learned how to shave.
Yeah. And so that's funny, right? And so this season I'm thinking, well, they did introduce him before as a writer, and this season they show he's writing a story about Station 4, and he has Murdoch's a bit of a simpleton, and he's written the Scotsman as being a drunk and whatever, so his coworkers read his book, and they were a little bit offended and everything, and so he was making some changes. But I kind of think, well, since they have Crabtree as writing, and he wrote a big, basically Iron Man into the story. Somebody's created like metal armor, and it has like a automatic firing gun kind of thing, cannon arm, and so he's introduced that, and he has kind of out there ideas for things. So because of that, maybe I accept the fact that other things in Murdoch and the telling of Murdoch Mysteries seems a little bit not really believable or whatever, right? Because, well, this could be coming from Crabtree. Murdoch Mysteries could be Crabtree's stories or whatever, as if you look at it that way. So, this season they have the coroner Violet, she's an African American person, and she's a coroner in Station House 4. She has decided there's this, I guess it's mafia people who are really causing trouble in her neighborhood. So she's decided to hire somebody who's basically protecting the neighborhood, and they're taking payments from people in the neighborhood to protect the neighborhood. And I don't know, I think they're trying to present her as because she's really well off. She married a well-off man, so she has lots of money. She started her own nightclub. And in past seasons, right? We know she has a lot of money, and she has a lot of power, really. And now she's taking payments from people in her community for protection, and they're presenting it in this as a good thing, I think. And Murdoch isn't that happy about it. He's like, you shouldn't be doing this. This is a conflict of interest with your, you work for the Toronto Constabulary or whatever, and it's he's not for it. And I like that he's not for what she's doing, because it's bad. It's very bad. And I don't know if the show is really presenting it as being as bad as it is. It really is. So James will probably want to talk about that. Because you can't have, like Murdoch was saying, it was vigilanteism, but it really isn't. It's really what it is it's mob protection. So you have one gang working, taking payments from people, protecting the neighborhood, and you have another gang taking payments, protecting the neighborhood. It's not good.
It's what's known in modern terms as a tax. It's a tax. And of course, or really a tribute. But the way they'd be presenting it is, hey, we're your army. But you see, army runs things. And any place where army runs things is a dictatorship. Yeah. Surprise? Anyway, keep going.
No, I'm putting it over to you. I already talked about the tomatoes.
So people will oftentimes try to excuse, and there's people in the left wing usually. Oh, the mafia had to be that way, really tough to protect the people against. They don't mention what. No.
Against the mafia.
Against the mafia, against other members of the mafia. They don't really say. Now, a lot of it, I'm afraid, had to do with protecting people initially, and really would be protection against Muslims. I gather they were into Sicily for 100 years, maybe. I don't think it could have been 200 years, maybe that long. But I encourage you folks to actually check this out. Check the places in Europe that are less advanced by comparison to other places. Now you'll find a certain correlation with Catholicism versus Protestantism. Everyone has to kibitz. Kibitz, I think, is the German word. Anyway, but I think on top of that, you'll find a pattern of, even within Catholic countries, or in the southern part of Europe, you'll find out that there's this huge discrepancy between the north and south. You can find it in Italy. And so not even just contrast between Sicily, in essence, so far south, it's not even part of the boot of Italy, but between the southern part, half of Italy, below Rome, or maybe even including Rome, and places in the north, industrial areas like Torino, Milano, what do they say, Genoa? So that's Genoa, or it's Genoa, as I used to say it, but I think it's Genoa, and Milan and Turin. There's what's the big difference? I'm afraid it's the amount of time Muslims have been squatting on top of that particular country. Spain is classic. A huge difference between Barcelona in the north and pretty well everyone else. You look at where the Muslim high tide ended, and it was, for a while there, they controlled almost all of Spain, except the northern coast and kind of the northeast around Barcelona. Huge difference between Barcelona and the other areas. How long were Muslims there, folks? Tie on your seatbelt and put in your mouth guard, and maybe put on your crash helmet, because it was 781 years. Now check that out. Yeah, I encourage you to be skeptical. I want you to check up the stuff that I say. Sometimes I make mistakes. I don't think I'm making a mistake on this. They're actually in a few years before, I think 711 AD. It's not a 711 store that they stomped into. 711 AD they stomped into Spain to more or less stay, but I think even a couple of years before they tried venturing across the Straits of Gibraltar. And it wasn't until 1492 that they were finally
This has nothing
punted.
to do with that. Nothing to do with that.
Were you wanting to finish something up?
Nope. That's, you go on, talk about whatever you want.
Yeah, exactly right. Sorry for boring. Now I proceed to bore people at home on the internet. So, 781 years. So huge discrepancy there. I think, I don't know if they got involved in the southern part of France. They're more into raiding there. I think actually they raided all the way up into Ireland every so occasionally. And into maybe even as far as Iceland. I'd like to think not, but especially given the reputation they've developed, even as they've been doing terrorism, many of them, too many of them, around the world pretty well. They've been developing a reputation, thanks to their left-wing fellow travelers, for being a very tolerant and peaceful religion. So let's look at southeastern Europe. Let's look at Greece, the place where Western civilization, to a large extent, was invented. Now, anyone who thinks the Greeks started off in Bakuo, however you want to mispronounce it. Well, you got another thing coming. I mean, the Greeks picked up a lot of stuff from the Egyptians, architecture, for example, columns and temples, sculpture, stuff like that. It took them a long time to get to the point that the Egyptians got to in the 4th dynasty, and that's the 4th dynasty. By the time the Greeks rolled around, Greek classical period, you're getting close to, well, you'd already gone through, if I'm not mistaken, 29 dynasties. Somewhere around there, 20, definitely the 26th dynasty was ended by that time, 26th dynasty. So 4th dynasty is really, really early. Some of the statues that were done back then were absolutely stunning and weren't equal until the time of the Greeks. And then a little bit later, maybe 200 BC, some of the statues done by the Chinese. But people have to get a perspective there. Oftentimes, people are going around and say, "Wow, the Chinese were so. Look at these statues. Wow, that was ancient." Yeah, it was the time between Mycerinus, or however you mispronounce his name, and the Chinese the statues buried in the huge burial chambers or vaults or whatever. Maybe 200 BC or something like that. Well, you know, that's over 2,000 years. That's longer than the time between, or it's roughly the time between now and those Chinese things. Yeah. So it's just kind of silly to go around saying, "No, the Chinese are just so ahead of everyone else. Look at these statues." Yeah, no. Those were behind the Greeks, and the Greeks were way behind the Egyptians. That's straight. Same thing with the Taj Mahal. The Taj Mahal was put up after Christopher Columbus, okay? Almost out of time.
5 minutes.
7 minutes?
5.
5. Anyway. Be skeptical about what I say, but check out the Taj Mahal. The Taj Mahal is based on old technology. The Romans got around to doing the newer version of the Pantheon, which is a dome, I believe around the time of Hadrian. Hadrian died a little bit after, I think. He or his cohorts, a little pun on that, not very good, but what they ethnically cleansed the Jews, not for the last time, but not eternally, as some people think. 135 AD. Taj Mahal is 1,000 years after that. 1,000 years is a long time. I don't care if it's way back in the mists of time. 1,000 years back then, 1,000 years like 1,000 years more recently. Yeah. Get that straight. What was I talking about? You get annoyed about how people get things screwed up. No, sometimes they think they're on TV as new weird ones. Same. Sometimes they think they're on TV. Anyway, I lost my train of thought. I do want to mention folks are doing distracted driving. Kind of distracting for me. Turning onto 13th Street the other day off 4th Avenue. Someone breezes right in front of the nose of our car. I stop. No, I feel like everyone else going along that stretch with the lights. They didn't have the lights, but with the lights, they would have been exceeding the speed limit. 60 clicks would not be an exaggeration. Breezing by, blowing by, really. I kind of get a impression of a face, you know, looking like a beach fish. You know, their jaws are hanging down on their chest or chests or whatever. I think it's the one. And they're looking at me. What are you doing in my intersection? So I see them breeze by, and as they're breezing by, I look up. No, I see green. I'm kind of seeing red too. My wife looks up. I like to think she wasn't seeing red at the same time she was seeing green, but yeah, we had the green light. No, I can't see that person being anything other than a distracted driver. If you want to do distracted driving, get some sort of game. There are these things, you know, like Game Boy or whatever, Xbox. I don't know what the current thing is. You can pretend you're a Formula One driver. You can pretend you're driving the Daytona 500. And you can be slurping a big gulp at the same time. You can be smoking with the other hand. And I don't know what. Maybe smoking and drinking at the same time. You can actually smoke and drink a big gulp at the same time. Couldn't you, Pauline? Well, maybe not you, but some people could. Kind of like this. Stuff like that, and operate their game. Or do you need two hands for some of these stupid things? I don't know. If you want to do distracted driving, do that. But don't do it out on the road where you're threatening other people's lives. If you want to commit suicide, you're welcome to it. I'm not interested in hearing you do a phone call and stuff like that. Hey, I'm a distracted driver. Save me, all that sort of stuff. Go jump off a bridge. Go jump off of Niagara Falls. Do whatever.
Hello, baby.
You know,
Come here.
get yourself out of our misery. Okay? Look at, here's Elvis. He's a big star. Okay?
Boy,
see, I'm doing distractive podcasting here. Because this guy's one character. You know, he's named after the Elvis Presley. Not so much Elvis Stoico, or even less, Elvis Costello. There we go. This is the one and only Elvis Bell right here. See? He's very affectionate. Okay? You want to perform for the people out there? He'll dance for you. Dancing for the people out in internet land. Can you say hi to them out there? Hey there, folks.
All right, you have 30 seconds.
30 seconds. Can you say goodbye to people out there in internet land? Can you bark? Who knows how to bark? Here's Opie down here. Can you ramp up so they can see your big ears? There we go. He's saying goodbye to you guys. Come on, Opie. There we go. This is Elvis, and that's Opie. What's Opie short for? There we go. She's saying goodbye. Good. Good. Thank you, guys.